week 3. By now, you should be able to quickly answer questions such as what is AI, what is machine learning, what is deep learning, why are they different, what kind of applications do we find. Maybe already have some concerns about societal impact or how it influences human cognition, or where will AI go, or try to make some predictions about future developments of AI. So, in this week, what we're going to be thinking about is the current state of the art. That means what are the best AI models that we currently have available. And we're going to use a small sub-chapter from the Artificial Intelligence and Modern Approach textbook that we've been using so far, which I highly recommend, by the way, especially if you'd be interested in reading a little bit more about it, or you do already have some technical background in computer science or math, and you would like to learn more or find some small projects you could be working on. This is a book I highly recommend. I think you can find it online, but if you cannot, feel free to message me and I can send it to you. But even if you don't have technical background, this is probably the best book available right now. Just to, I guess, browse if you're interested in learning more about AI, if you want to get some inspiration on what people are working on and what are the basic ideas in the field. So that's the Russell Norvig book. What we're doing this week is let's try to see what are the main applications of AI, such as you see here robotic vehicles, speech recognition, autonomous planning and scheduling, game playing, we've already seen it before, chess playing, AIs that beat human players, right? Spam fighting, we use these algorithms every day. They filter our emails, logistics planning. You see how this can be incorporated into bigger projects, right? Robotics. You might be surprised, though, that robotics is not as advanced as the language models that we'll discuss later on. Machine translation, you may have noticed that Google Translate has become much better than it was 4, 5, 6 years ago. Why that? Because machine learning algorithms make it easier for these softwares to do successful translation. So these are just some examples from this book. And you also have 2 videos to watch for this week. One about ChatGPT and another one about diffusion, stable diffusion. ChatGPT you probably have heard about already. It's a text generator. So by the end of this video, you should be able at least to briefly explain how ChatGPT works and what is GPT, what is this generative pre-trained transformer. And when we talk about GPT, the GPT series, it's these OpenAI models. Of course, there are other companies, other AI labs that have language models like GPT. How does it work exactly? You may remember phrases like it just predicts the next token in a sequence of tokens, while it has read a large training distribution. It has read text from a large training distribution that is human text that the developers find online, and they feed it into the model, and the model just learns to assign a probability on tokens. What is a token? A token is something like a syllable. and so the model learns to create long sequences of tokens based on predicting what's the highest probability for that token to follow that other token. So that's something to remember from that. You may have questions such as, is this how human cognition work, for example? So that's something to think about, especially if you're interested in psychology or cognitive science. And then for diffusion models, these are generally the models used for generating images. How do these models work? They're also being fed some training data, some images. Something happens there. It's being blurred, and then they learn to fill in the gaps. So again, this sort of like predictive mechanism of what's the right bit that would go there. So the model again learns some kind of prediction process. You may want to think again about some analogies with human cognition. So it would be best for you by the end of watching these videos to be able to very quickly and easily explain how these models work. Depending on your background and how comfortable you have become with using the terminology of machine learning by now, you may have different degrees of ability in like explaining it or depth in explaining it. But it would be very good for you to set a goal of that's how much detail I want in my explanation, and kind of try to test yourselves. Okay, what is ChatGPT, or what does a DALL-E do? And of course, I invite you to go and try these models yourselves and do small experiments, just so that you have this hands-on experience with what AI is, and it's not just some magical thing out there. So that is insofar as reading and 2 videos are concerned. We're wrapping up this 3rd week of Intro to AI. You're going to be turning in your first assignment at the end of this week. So it would be good to make sure that you don't have any questions or any, at least big confusions before we enter the next section of the course. And if you do have questions, it would be good first to try and reread some of the most challenging parts of the texts, and of course look up whatever you feel you would like to learn more about. And I would also invite you to try to find connections between the things we're learning and other research interests you may have. Again, if you're studying psychology, if you're studying neuroscience or computer science, or whatever other field you might be working on, it's great to be able to find connections between things. I think that's going to be very useful for you, and especially putting the things you learn into some kind of context. So that's it for this week. Try to make notes. Try to have some good structure for the things you learn. And see you in the next video.